what's up, and welcome to The Weekenders. This is the show where we talk about the biggest football games of the weekend. I'm Max, joined by Bobby and Lexi. Thanks for tuning in to our show here on Multiplicity Media. Listen, this is the biggest game of not only of the weekend, but of the year that we're going to talk about today, and it is Super Bowl 58 between the Niners and the Chiefs. How excited are you guys about this game?
Gotta say that I'm not excited at all.
I'm excited, but there's a tinge of like sadness. It's the last football game for a while, and that's always a bummer. But being in the we're Oklahoma's like halfway between Kansas City and Dallas, so there's a little bit of excitement there. My dad's a big Chiefs fan, so it's not all as repulsive as some folks I think are feeling out there. So I'm excited. It's always a fun time. It's hard to believe it's already at the end, but
It's kind of weird that like this is a rematch of the Super Bowl from a few years ago. But it doesn't feel like as exciting, you know what I'm saying? Like, that team was kind of similar to this 49ers team, the Chiefs team. The only big difference is Tyreek Hill, and that's obviously a huge difference. But, now, obviously, from the Niners, you have a new quarterback with Brock Purdy now instead of Jimmy G. But at the same time, like, these teams are still kind of very similar. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is older, more experienced. That game was so interesting because Mahomes played so bad in the first three quarters, and then the fourth quarter, just the lights turned on, and he was able to make enough plays, more plays than Jimmy Garoppolo in that game. So I think what this game looks like with this version of the 49ers versus that version of the Chiefs is the thing that I'm most interested in this game. That's otherwise like probably a mid matchup if you think about like the grand scope of what the NFL gave us this year and what we could have had in the Super Bowl. But before we get to the game, let's talk about some Super Bowl fun. We're going to do a quick game of this or that, Super Bowl party edition. Let's start off with so this or that. For those who don't know, I'm just going to give my co-host two options of what they prefer at the Super Bowl party, and they're going to tell me which one they like first. So, all right, here it is, this or that Super Bowl edition. Let's start off with wings or pizza.
Wings all day. Flats though, I like me some flats. A few drumsticks is fine, but
so here's my thing. I think both are good, but if I had to go with a party option, let's just be upfront here. I'm more of I think pizza kind of works because I think it lasts a little longer in a certain sense. If it's a party, you're buying in bulk. Sometimes the wings, if you're sharing with a bunch of people, let's be honest, get a little cold. It's not the best version of the wings. You're not getting hot, crispy, ready to go wings usually, and depending on which party you're going to. But if you're going par for the course, it can be a little, not the best. Naturally, it as well. I'm more of a pizza guy, I will say. If I had to pick one or the other, and also there's the mess factor. Let's be honest as well. Like you don't unless you're going with a nice, like lemon pepper dry rub, something like that. You're gonna get a little messy, and I don't want to deal with all the napkins. Too many of my friends around. When I eat wings, I want to be in solitude. I want my closest loved ones around me at max. I don't want to get in a messy business in front of a whole bunch of people. The napkins, it's just too much. It's too much.
I guess another way to ask this too is like if you're at a Super Bowl party. The wings. Let's say the wings and pizza come at the same time. Which one are you hitting first? Are you grabbing wings first, or doing pizza first? Are you doing both at the same time?
You gotta throw it all on at once. I mean, you gotta get some wings. You gotta get at least one, maybe two pieces of pizza, depending what kind there are. You gotta load that plate up.
You do because if you don't, then whoever because here's the thing: everyone they try to get a variety, right? And if you don't get both at once, you're like the best of the best. When you go back for that second plate, you're going to get the worst rub, worst sauce. They're trying to be adventurous. They're like, oh, we got this one. Nobody wants that. You gotta go with the classics, you know. I don't want the taco pizza. I want pepperoni. Nobody's here for the taco. Nobody. It's a weird Midwest thing. Casey's long story. Yeah, you don't want to go with the experimental garbage. You need the bread and butter, the good stuff, and that's why you go in the first round. You know.
Have you ever had salad pizza?
What?
Okay, that's a Michigan thing, I guess. Then let me tell you, it's so good.
Okay, salad pizza. That's
on the salad pizza, please.
Yeah, no, it's good, especially when you get like on like the Detroit style deep dish. You know.
I will say.
What comes on a salad pizza?
So, hear me out, all right? Sometimes, some places use mayonnaise as like the base. I don't like that.
Oh.
I like when they use like the homemade ranch.
Okay.
So you use that, and then like the cheese sauce. There's no like red sauce. You know, you're not using a marinara. But yeah, it's pretty good.
So it's ranch. So what makes it salad is the ranch base.
And so yeah, and there's like lettuce and then whatever toppings you put on it.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's like literally like salad.
Oh okay.
But
so it's healthy.
Pizza.
There we go. It's healthy.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh my god!
I can't believe you guys never had it. That's crazy.
No. Well,
very much not a thing.
Before we move on to the next thing, on that note, real quick, what's like if you could only have like this type of pizza in terms of like toppings, like what are you gonna choose? Like you can't put anything else on your pizza except these things. Like for me, it's give me like sausage and green peppers. Like if I have that on my pizza, I'm good. I don't need anything else. What's that for you guys?
I'm a simple guy. I like a good, sausage pepperoni. That don't overcomplicate it. Now, a good meat lovers here and there, love that. There's a place around here in Oklahoma called Hideaway they have this thing called the Big Country that's just killer. That's great. That's fine, but don't be getting too crazy with it. I will say, Lexi, the Detroit style pizza, it's proliferated down Oklahoma. Love it. It's Detroit's the best thing they've done since cars, I guess. But
I know people in Chicago that love Detroit style pizza, so that's how you know.
Yeah,
it's fire. So I got to give you all credit for that. But just simple meat, cheese. I'm not a complicated man.
Yeah, I'm just the old world pepperonis. Like the ones that curl up and you get little like grease pools in them, and they're so good when you like bite into the slice of pizza. Yes, I need the old world pepperoni, and then maybe some green pepper, onion, whatever. But definitely always old world pepperoni.
I have to throw out one more just absurdist pizza. There was a place down the street from me around. I think they did it as a joke around. November, they made a green bean casserole pizza, which is
oh my god,
apparently it was good. I have no idea what deranged human being came up with that, but
yeah, that's pretty wild.
Sorry, this pod could just keep going about odd pizzas.
I was going to go on a further tangent and just say, if you like old world style pizza with the pepperoni and everything that you were saying, there's a really good pizza place that somebody put me on to. It's like downtownish LA Arts District area, and it's Sicilian style pizza, but like their pepperoni is like just like that. It's got the grease in the middle. It's like very like old, like Sicilian pizza. So it's
like the old world.
yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
Okay, would you rather Super Bowl party this or that? Host or guest? Which one would you rather be?
I like to host. I do. I can be, not that I like, I guess I can be in control of things, but I like to just be at home. I'm comfortable at home, and then everyone leaves. I don't got to drive anywhere. So yeah, that's perfect.
Always a tough question. One I struggled with myself. It depends. It depends on where I'm going. Current situation. might be a bit too big of a drive, but I'm happy not having to deal with the prep and all that, because sometimes it can be too much. I feel like the kitchen, it turns into like the bear or something. We're screaming, tensions are high, everyone's running around. If there was a camera, it'd be a one shot. So that's nice, but also I love flexing a little bit. Get the grill going, get everything. I have a pretty great media room. I never show it off because the lighting's horrible, but yeah, I love a good host opportunity. But in this case, with that big of a crowd for the Super Bowl, I'll leave it up to my friends.
Yeah, I'd rather be a guest as well. Like, always been, always willing to bring stuff. Always willing to help out, whatever. But definitely a big guest person. That goes for most things, but Super Bowl for sure. Okay, we doing homemade dip or store bought for the chips.
You know what? I love, there's a couple dips I'll buy in the store, but I even like making those basic ones where it's like just some Lipton French onion soup mix and some sour cream, or like those cheese ball mixes, where you just make it fresh. So yeah, no, I'm homemade. Anything I can make in a crock pot too. Spinach, artichoke dip, buffalo dip. It's just better homemade.
Yeah, I think this one might be a little cheating because I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't make the dips. I have a terrific wife who's the queen of the dip, and she handles all of that. So I'm gonna pick her making it. But I don't know. I my culinary skills are almost exclusively just like making meat, like barbecue, all of that. Beyond that, I'm just a bozo in the kitchen. It's not good. If you've ever gone to my personal podcast, Scooter Pod, I did a cooking show for a brief period of time. It was not good. I almost burnt my friend's house down one time. It was making mozzarella sticks. It was bad. It was bad. So, anyways, I digress.
All right, last one. You guys watching the commercials or talking during the commercials?
I mean, I try to watch them, but I don't really have like the attention span to sit there and be like, like certain ones will catch my eye and then I'll remember. But yeah, no, it's basically just talking.
The Super Bowl commercial has had its golden age about 20 years ago. It's done. Let's be honest. Last time we had a really good batch of Super Bowl commercials was maybe not 20, but like 2008, 2007-ish. It's not worth your time. I'm disappointed every year. And I'd rather hang out with my friends than, watch something that has been out on Twitter for a week.
Okay, wait. Do you remember the year where they were in that like enclosed glass case and like they launched the baby against the side of the wall? Do you guys remember that?
I think I do remember that. Yeah.
It was.
I think I remember that. Yeah,
I know. I gotta think about what that was, but that just always sticks in my head. It's like
there's been some crazy Super Bowl commercials. Shameless plug. Look up. I wrote an article about the Super Bowl commercials that are already out there. There's the funny thing is I wrote the article and put it out last Friday, and like more commercials have been like sent to me by like PR people since then, and I'm like, the article's already out. Like, you guys are too late. But no, it's really funny. But yeah, if you want to look that up, just search Max Finley's and Super Bowl commercials or something. But anyway,
put it in the show notes. Let's go. Yeah. I love a good plug.
Shameless plug. But no, yeah, I think it depends on the setting you're in. I've watched Super Bowl in many different settings. I think at a Super Bowl party or at a bar, it's impossible to sit there and pay attention to the commercials because you're going to want to talk to people. You're going to interact. The bar's going to, I don't even know if they're going to play the sound for the commercial. They're probably going to be playing music or whatever, or having other stuff go on. So you're not going to pay attention to the commercials in those settings. I feel like the times when I've watched Super Bowl with family, or like a small group of people, like a small group of friends, or like I said, mom, dad, like family setting, it's quieter, so you can watch the commercials. You can. Some of them are funny, some of them are whatever. So yeah, I think this depends. I think I've like more times than not, I'm probably just talking because I'm in a louder setting. But I think it just depends on where you're at. Um, and yeah, based on like what I've seen so far, uh, I feel like the old days are probably better for commercials. They're probably a little bit more creative back then. There's some funny ones this year. There's one PETA one that's like very like jarring. Not in like a bad way. It's just like a little makes you think. And it's got Edie Falco from The Sopranos in it. So I feel like that's going to be a talk when that comes out. But yeah, that's my take on commercials. Uh, okay. Uh, last last fun question before we get to the game talk. Uh, one song you're looking forward to seeing Usher perform this year. What's like the one that you're like, oh my god, like if I don't hear anything else, or if I don't pay attention to anything.
I'm all about the nostalgia. So give me something like circa Confessions or maybe Lovers and Friends. I can hear one of that.
Just one song. Give me one song, Lexi.
You Got It Bad.
Okay, that's a good one. It's a slower
It
one.
is. It is.
I feel a little corny for saying it, but I mean, yeah, it's going to be fun. I feel like with any Super Bowl concert, like halftime show, the big hits are what really stand out. That's where the production value goes into it. I feel like that one's going to go pretty solid. Usher is about the dancing, the all of that, and I feel like that's one where he can really let that one really flex on that one. He can really let the production elements shine through.
It's so funny because Usher has had like so many like eras in his like career. Like obviously we talked about the throwbacks, the confession era. Um, he's had times where like he's done so many different types of things in collaboration. So you know, I feel like he's going to be able to put out a lot of hits. I'm just speaking about like the like she's saying like um, you got it bad. Like I'm wondering how he's going to do some of his slower songs because he has like so many melodies like Burn and like My Boo. Like I'm wondering like if he's going to bring
Oh
out something
my
that's going
gosh.
to like go for the hyper ones because like you gotta. I mean,
I,
he
I,
could.
I forgot about My Boo.
I know, like that's gonna be like a moment if he does that, especially if Alicia Keys comes out with him too. Like that's gonna like put people in their feelings. So like, uh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
I think those are gonna be fun. Burns like my favorite song. You Reminded Me is another good one too. I just I'm looking forward to this.
Oh my
Because
gosh, in that beginning. Okay, yeah. Throwback.
so many throwbacks, but uh, no, I'm excited for him for sure. Um, one underrated Usher song, "Somebody to Love," with Justin Bieber. Underrated Usher ball for sure. Okay.
I can see him coming out. I could see
Oh,
Beebs
Bieber,
making an
yeah.
appearance.
He has nothing better to do. let's be honest.
Yeah, he did the hockey All-Star game recently.
Yeah, he did. He did show up for that. All right, cool. All right. To the game. Um, Niners Chiefs. We know where the game is. It's in Vegas. 6:30 p.m. kick. We know that. Um, over under 47 and a half. The 49ers are favored by 2 points. The Chiefs have not been favored, I don't think, in any playoff game except for the one against the Dolphins. But in every other game, they've been the underdog. So underdog against the Bills, underdog against the Ravens. Now that they're underdog in the Super Bowl, and that's really interesting to me because we're gonna get into it, but like also they're the underdog and they're expecting it to be a mostly 49ers crowd, obviously because the Super Bowl is played one state over. So big Niners crowd expects to be there. The Chiefs are the underdog, whether you agree or not. But yeah, let's get into it. Like, why do you think the Niners are favored? Or were you surprised that they're favored?
I think that overall they're the stronger team. I think that between their defense and their offense, that they're the more complete team. Now, does that mean I think they're the better team overall? I don't, Mahomes just keeps proving us all wrong. And so at this point, it's just like he's going to do whatever he's going to do. But yeah, I think that's why they're favored, though. Just balance it out. They've got the better on paper.
Well, if you, yeah, I mean, on paper, and if you look at the body of work, it definitely leans with the 49ers. And I actually was talking to my dad, and he's like, yeah, I bet on the Chiefs, not because of anything analytically, last week, but because I just felt it. Or for the AFC, and he's like I didn't even feel it. The Chiefs just find a way, and he's not wrong because KC just does find a way. It's kind of incredible, but that doesn't mean they should be favored. They haven't gotten here because they're like, just beating the other team straight up, or they haven't been doing that all season. They just, I don't know. It's weird. The other team either collapses, or it's really cold and everyone's from Miami, or you're the Buffalo Bills and you wet your pants the first time you have any sort of big moment. So they've just had all of these things kind of happen, but so you can't really make an informed statistical decision off of that, if that makes sense. They just find a way. Niners, on the other hand, everything's on their side. They're complete. Analytics are on their side. So that's why they're favored, because you can't justify making the Chiefs the favorite because quote unquote they got that dog in them or something. It's just so yeah,
Well,
that's why.
well, here's two things to think about. One, I think everyone would probably agree the Niners, especially on offense and their skill positions, like across the board, like better talent, like not even close. Running back, receivers, big advantage to the Niners. And the defense, obviously, they're very complete. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. We know they got a good team on both sides. But we know that roster wise, like Bobby just said, very complete team, very good. Lexi said, a very complete team. We agree with all that. I think the reason, because this is, remember, Vegas, Vegas are not necessarily football analysts. Like, their job is to think about this from a gambling perspective. But we know, something we know about Vegas is that they're pretty consistent with what they believed before, unless of course you have some like major injury that change or will factor into the result being different. So when I say that, I mean like Vegas, like I just said in the beginning, underdog has made the Chiefs an underdog pretty much all the way through the playoffs. I don't know what the preseason. I don't remember what the preseason Super Bowl odds were. But from what I can remember, I don't think the Chiefs were the leaders in terms of Super Bowl winners for the preseason, mainly due to um, like the Chiefs' offensive roster. Um, and then those odds, I'm sure, got even worse in Week 1 when the Lions win the Arrowhead and beat them, right? So if this whole year Vegas has been telling us like they don't really think the Chiefs are Super Bowl champions or worthy of being Super Bowl champions or worthy of being favored to be Super Bowl champions. Well, of course, in the game, when the Niners, like you said, have every advantage at their disposal except for at quarterback and coach. Well, yeah, Vegas is gonna, set the line at Niners -2 because they don't think that the Chiefs are supposed to be here in the first place. I mean, to this point, they said, "Hey, the Chiefs are the underdogs." You know, these teams that they're facing are better. Um, so I think it's a mix of those two things, like the rosters, but also Vegas is just saying, "Hey, this is what we thought the entire year. Like, they're not going to change it now. Sorry, my dog's really loud. Okay. On speaking of the Niners, though, like we just talked about, do they have a really stacked roster? Who's the most important player on their team?
It's got to be McCaffrey. I feel like he is. It is an offense that is completely dynamic. Don't get me wrong. And the defense, of course, as a unit, has been incredible. But what McCaffrey does unlocks so much for San Francisco. It helps Brock Purdy out immensely because when you establish a running game, you completely open up the passing game. And not only that, but McCaffrey is such an asset, in that passing game as well. So to me, he's that piece that kind of pulls everything together, takes a lot of pressure off of Purdy, and allows Purdy to really, really, really perform. I feel like you can get away with Purdy leaning on him if needed. So I'm going to go with McCaffrey. I think he's the most dynamic player offensively in the NFL, and he's been excellent.
For sure. I'm going to actually go with Nick Bosa because I think that he has to put kind of the fear God in the offensive line and Mahomes in the game. And I think that being the leader of that defense, he's got a big job to do. So I think that that's going to be the biggest key for them. So I'm going with Bosa.
Yeah, it's funny. Like no one's like, "Oh yeah, obviously it's Brock Purdy, right?" But the whole discussion this week has been like, "Oh, is Brock Purdy a game manager or not? Is he a system quarterback? And if he wins the game, what does that prove?" Like, I feel like Brock Purdy is going to have to continue to develop, and I don't think him winning the Super Bowl, it says a lot, but it doesn't necessarily mean that people are right or wrong to call him a game manager or to say he's more than a game manager. I think we've seen examples of game managers in the Super Bowl not able to on him. Um, there's, well, I'm not going to go on a tangent. But anyway, I believe the most important player in this game for the 49ers, I'm going to kind of cheat with this answer, but I think it's both of the receivers, Ayuk and Debo Samuel. We've seen how like important both of them are in terms of just being able to break up in that offense. And in this game, when Brock Purdy is going to be in the biggest game of his life, like you're going to want the receivers to step up and help him make his job easy. So to me, like their success is imperative to what the Niners are going to be able to do. And we're going to talk about it in a second, but that's mainly because the Chiefs' defense is no joke. So in that case, I think that Ayuk and Samuel are going to be critical. And then also from a health standpoint, like Samuel's been banged up as well. So him just being available in the first place is going to be critical in this game. Because Kittle is a good target, but he's not what he used to be. So I know that they're going to rely on a lot on the receivers to make plays. So yeah, I mean, the Niners offense, we talked about like how how much more talented they are than what the Chiefs have on offense. The Chiefs defense, for many people, has carried them here. Like again, we can talk about sort of all day, like the Chiefs' lack of talent on offense. They're starting to figure it out at the right time, but their defense has been phenomenal. We saw what they did to Lamar and the Ravens. We saw what they did to Josh Allen and the Bills in the second half. Like, and even for the 49ers side, like, we saw the Lions in the first half of that NFC Championship game, like, shut them out pretty much too. Uh, you know, so who has the edge here? Is it the Niners offense or the Chiefs defense?
I just, yeah, I want it, like, both are good. This is going to be a really good matchup. We say that, this game is kind of like, but it's a pretty, like, I feel like head to head here. But if it comes down to it, San Francisco just has so many weapons. It's just, and as much as people want to say system QB for Brock or whatever, he gets the job done. He takes care of the ball. He has all these weapons to do to go with that. So I know Chiefs like pass defense is really good, but I just got to give the Niners the edge here just with the talent that they have.
I mean, this really feels like strength on strength, which is kind of crazy, with how we've, looked at these Kansas City teams recently. The Chiefs, they've gotten this run done on the defensive end, the defensive side of the ball. So I don't know if it's just insane to say this. I kind of think Chiefs D, just in that, like, if they can get pressure on Brock Purdy, and it's like, Purdy can do it in a bubble, but when he starts getting flustered, when he starts trying to be a hero, that's when things kind of fall apart. And he has had great moments. Don't get me wrong. But these are like, I don't know, low percentage crazy things that he's made. He's made those. He has the ability to do it, but in the biggest games, highest level, I don't know. I feel like it's easy to do that when you're playing with a clean jersey, but I feel like that's kind of been what Kansas City's done this whole postseason, is get in the opposing quarterback's face and kind of break him down. And let's be honest, Brock Purdy, probably outside of Tua, I mean, can't really count Tua because of the circumstance there and just overall, probably the worst quarterback they've played since that Miami game. So, in my opinion, I think, I'm not trying to make it all about the quarterback, but if you cut off the head of the snake ain't doing anything. So, I think if they can get to Purdy, they have the advantage. If not, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, it is. I agree that I think the quarterback playing Brock Purdy gives the Chiefs defense a huge advantage because the inexperience. You have quarterback that is prone to make a mistake, or not experienced or talented enough to be able to necessarily beat you by himself. So I think that does give the Chiefs defense a huge edge, even though the Niners offense is so ridiculously stacked. I think it's going to be interesting though because, like I mentioned before, like what are these teams in like at the halves? Is it going to be the tail of two halves? Because that's what we saw from the Chiefs when they played the Bills a couple weeks ago. And that's what we saw from the 49ers when they played against the Lions a couple weeks ago. Like they looked one way in the first half and a different way in the second. And the Chiefs, we've seen them sort of have that Jekyll and Hyde halves before as well. So obviously the second half is most important, but what those teams look like is going to be something to watch. And I will say this too: I think that this game has a really good chance of looking similar to. I hope not, because it was like the most boring Super Bowl I've ever watched in my life. But it has a chance of looking very similar to the Patriots Rams from a few years ago. It was like very like defensive, like, but it was like going into the game like Jared Goff, young quarterback. He's figuring it out. He's got all these weapons. Todd Gurley, the receivers, all those weapons were like the Bills. Build to be really good, but then the Patriots defense and Bill Belichick, and they pretty much shut the Rams down. It was a low scoring Super Bowl and not fun to watch at all. So hoping that it's not like that, but I feel like those are the vibes that we could get on Sunday. But I'm giving the edge to the 49ers. The Chiefs defense for sure. All right, what's the keys to victory for the? Let's start with the Chiefs.
Oh, yep, I can go. So I think that like overall, it's just going to be making sure that they're able to just help Mahomes. I feel like, all season long you rely on him to be the Superman, and like, which most of the time we watch and he is, but you got to be out there and helping, not dropping those passes, taking care of the ball, making sure that, he can control the tempo of the game. That's going to really be, I feel, the biggest key to victory here, especially taking care of the ball against that Niners defense. So,
I mean, absolutely. But, Valdez scrambling all of those Chiefs receivers that have been drugged through the mud, kind of rightfully so, because they were horrible in the regular season. They've stepped it up in the postseason. That's been the difference. If they can make magic happen, and if you were talking about it earlier, if the Niners get down early, I'm just saying, no offense to the Detroit Lions or the Green Bay Packers, but going down to the Kansas City Chiefs, that is a way more ruthless, lethal position to be in, just given their experience, given how that offense operates. They are, Andy Reid won't make mistakes. He will step on their throat and make plans for to grab a burger afterwards. But he'll be stepping on your throat while he's doing that.
Yeah, I think like kind of talked about it a little bit today, but it's all about like whichever team. It's going to come down to whichever team makes the fewest mistakes. I think for the Chiefs to get their key to victory is just like you said, pressure on Brock Purdy. Mahomes is going to be Mahomes. It was kind of weird though because like up until last year, like Mahomes was starting to get the weird like Super Bowl not really performing well reputation because he played terrible in the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers, and then the Niners won. Like I said, he had one good quarter out of the whole game, so it was starting to be like 7 quarters of Mahomes bad, 1 quarter of Mahomes good, like weird narrative. In the Super Bowl last year, he was really good, so that kind of like wiped that out. But I believe that this year, um, Mahomes going into his fourth time being in the game, I have no doubts that he'll be great. Man, this is just going to be about the Chiefs defense stepping up, making plays, and if they do that, they'll win the game pretty easily. I think. For the Niners, to me, if you're them, it's just mainly about um, it's mainly about doing what you've done all year. Steve Wilkes is going to have to call a hell of a game against Patrick Mahomes, against him. Hope the receivers drop some balls. Hope some mistakes happen on their side. Steve Wilkes is going to have to be on his A game. I think he'll be prepared. He was the coordinator when the Panthers went to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, so he has experience in that role. He's been at the game before. I think he'll do great. So yeah, it's going to be a crazy game. But both these sides, I think, are going to ultimately win the defense. To be honest, I think that's really the keys to victory for both teams: is defense and not making any mistakes. Uh, all right, this is sort of like the existential question that's been going on in the media cycle today. I don't know what side you guys on of the GOAT debate in football. We haven't really discussed it. But let's say the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. Now Mahomes has 3 rings, couple MVPs. He's led the, I mean, obviously, the records and stuff are going to be later on in his career, but, he's done a lot of great things in a short span of time. Does this Super Bowl win make Patrick Mahomes the GOAT? Will it make him the GOAT?
Nobody gets it. It gets him close. It gets him a very, very big one. While at his age, like you start to talk about the likelihood of him getting that position of the GOAT. Like it starts to feel more imminent that you're going to crown this guy. Obviously, he's he's got to catch up with Brady. But to get, I mean, when did Brady got 3 and when he was, let's see, that would have been McNabb in 04 or against
Let's say
McNabb.
04.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
he got 3 in like the first. He got 3 in the within the first 4 or 5 years of his career.
Yeah.
yeah, so he was so it puts him at least on track. And the benefit that he'll have is, Brady had a really long wait between kind of dynasty type runs. I think we look back in the Pats dynasty and think it was just like this constant, but there was a really big lull there. From like 2005 all the way to whenever he won his other one. Yeah. So I think it matches him along with that timeline. So there's a lot of questions. I wouldn't say it's imminent, but you have to feel like it keeps him in the conversation for sure. And let's be honest, at that point, yeah, I mean, who's going to stop him other than the Chiefs, front office and cap space?
I think the problem with the barrier to me calling that right now is two things. One is because like 7 rings that Tom Brady has, like that's one part of it. But like the thing about it is Brady has the longevity argument still. He has the rings. So it's like longevity rings. Brady literally went to a Tampa Bay team that couldn't make the playoffs, took them, made them have them win the Super Bowl the year that he got there, and then on top of that, like prime Patrick Mahomes lost to Tom Brady head to head in the Super Bowl. So I'm like, okay, all those things are now working against Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes can't do anything about the Super Bowl loss to Tom Brady. It happened. Patrick Mahomes will never be able to avenge it. Uh, Tom Brady also beat him in the AFC Championship when Brady was on the Patriots. So
In
Mahomes will
KC.
yeah, in KC. So Mahomes will never be able to have that. Brady will always have the trump card. Beat you in the AFC Championship, beat you in the Super Bowl. Never can't change anything about that. But what Mahomes can change is the rings and the longevity. I'm not putting the expectation on him, but I think a reasonable person will, and for this discussion, I think it is reasonable to say that with a ring in this situation on a team that many people thought that he could not win the Super Bowl on because of the lack of talent, particularly on offense, I think that goes a long way in adding to his like GOAT argument, but it doesn't make the GOAT argument. Not at this juncture. It's almost like um, it's almost like LeBron in like the Cleveland ring where he beat the Warriors in that 73-19 or whatever it was. Like if you're a LeBron as the GOAT guy, like that is the ring that like goes a long way into making that argument. Um, but there was other things that LeBron has done in his career that he did in his career that you would have to cumulatively say like this is the GOAT argument for LeBron. The Cleveland ring just like was a really strong card in the deck. And so I think similarly for Mahomes, it doesn't make the good argument for him, but it is a really strong like card in the deck because of he's an underdog in the Super Bowl to the 49ers. This team is supposed to be, not good at all, compared to other Chiefs teams. Like this would go a long way. And he
Yeah.
beat prime Josh Allen and the Bills, prime Lamar and the Ravens, like on the road to get here. Like this would go a long way for sure.
I mean, absolutely. Yeah, the goat arguments are always about story, and that would be one hell of a storyline right there. Obviously, got to get it done, do other stuff later. Got to win more Super Bowls, but whew, that would be as impressive of a Super Bowl win as he has as Arsenal by far.
For sure. Tom Brady is always going to be my go. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is great, but do it as much as Brady for as long as he did, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's fair. I think that's completely fair. All right. Predictions for the game. Okay. All right. Never mind about the. Oh yeah. Okay. We'll get to that. Sorry. All right. Game. Just game prediction. Um, I'm thinking the Chiefs personally because I just think the defense and Mahomes gets it done. I think again, this is almost like the Ravens Chiefs situation. I picked the Chiefs because I wanted the Ravens to win, but I believed in my heart that like I was looking at a mistake, looking at a good football team that doesn't make mistakes versus a team that hadn't shown me yet, with a quarterback that hasn't shown me yet that they can play a mistake-free game, and the team that was on the other side, and the Ravens made a lot of mistakes and they lost. The Chiefs didn't make any mistakes. So similarly, the Niners are good. I respect them. I respect Brock Purdy. I respect all that. But you're gonna have to show me that you can make less mistakes than the Chiefs are gonna make in that on that stage if you're gonna convince me that you can win that game. So I'm taking the Chiefs to win. That's just the game prediction for me.
Yeah, I'm taking Chiefs too. Like we said, we bet against them all along this way. Questioned, but Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. So I do think it's going to be a good game, good matchup. But Kansas City comes out on top.
I've been saying it for a couple weeks now. I'm not down the Chiefs again. They've proven me wrong that this team is different. They keep winning. They keep finding ways to win, and I think they find a way to win once again in the Super Bowl. And also, they have a little flag buried at the 50-yard line. Apparently, someone put a Chiefs flag in the foundation of Allegiant Stadium. So, which is just genuinely wild.
Crazy.
It's also got to be like if you're a Raiders fan in Vegas, you got to be like so mortified that the Chiefs are playing the Super Bowl in your home stadium
Against the Niners, the team you used to share a market with.
Like both your rivals, like the Niners and the Chiefs, are playing the Super Bowl in your stadium. Like that's gotta suck. Like the Raiders got to be like, what? Where did we go wrong?
Just in hell. Oh
Like
god, yeah.
It's a double win. Okay. Uh, okay. Lock of the week. This is the last one, obviously, for the year. A couple weeks ago, the championship weekend, Bobby and I got closer to uh, beating Lexi for the year, but we got one more game to do. So Lexi had the Ravens. Bobby had the 49ers. I had Chiefs -3.5. Uh, Niners won. Obviously, Chiefs won and covered. And the Ravens lost. So Lexi stayed at 24 for the year. Bobby bumped up to 24 and 22 with the win. And I am 5 points away from Bobby and Lexi at 19. So here's what we're doing with Lock of the Week. So this will be the last one, and there will be a winner based on this. So I'm adding more pieces to the puzzle for Lock of the Week. So if you want to pick a team that's going to win in the game, simple pick: Niners, Chiefs, Chiefs, Niners. Go ahead, you'll get 2 points. Um, round of applause. Obviously, Bobby, Lexi, you guys get those 2 points. Take them home, and if we get our picks wrong, then that's you're the winner. That's easy, super easy to do. Um, Now, if you want to make sure you get a little bit of an edge, you can do the pick plus the line. So Chiefs -2. 49ers -2, Chiefs +2, and get yourself 3 points. Give yourself a little bit of cushion to make sure you get the win. Your other option is option C. You can just pick a prop bet. So I found prop bets on Chalkboard and Prize Picks. Uh, you can just pick one single prop bet and get 4 points. And give yourself a little bit of cushion. Or if you like me and you need 6 points to even think about winning, you have to pick the game plus a prop for a total of 6 points. All right, so that is the week of block. That is the rules of Block of the Week just for this week. And if there was a tie, hopefully there's not, but if there is a tie, then what we're going to do right now is guess the national anthem time in seconds, and whoever is the closest will be the tiebreaker. So let's do the national anthem uh, guesses first, y'all. Reba McEntire is the national anthem singer. This woman is a legend. She's in her 60s. So, Lexi, you have your picking already. You got 118.4 seconds for the national anthem time. That is almost 2 minutes. Uh, why do you think she's going to be singing for that long? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute. Go ahead. Go ahead. You go.
So I'm not gonna lie. I looked up because I was like, I wonder how long it takes to sing this. So I looked up averages of it being sung, and I think she's gonna take it a little longer than that. The average is like 115.7. So give me a couple seconds extra with Reba.
Shout out Reba, native Oklahoman, doing us proud on the big stage. Love to see it. This is a crazy low time, which makes me honestly, a little bit concerned. You know, I don't know. What do they know? What do the people know?
Oh, well, the over under the lines right now, they opened at 84.5, which is crazy. But the line is now at 90.5. Over under for the national anthem time. So
they know something, Maxwell. They know something. I'm telling you. I'm gonna go. I didn't know it's an over under, but I love the under here because
that's the time.
Yeah. So if I'm gonna go with an exact time. Let's go 1 minute 20 seconds. So yeah, we're on 1 minute 20 seconds.
80 seconds.
Yeah, 80 seconds total. We're going Reba to keep things zippy.
Okay.
Zippy.
All right, so I've got 100 seconds. I think she's going to be a little over the 90.5. I'm thinking, it's Reba McEntire, so it's not like, that's her time in the sun. She's, probably wanting to. She's probably got inspired by Tracy Chapman at the Grammys and wants to, get her time out there in Las Vegas. So she's gonna want to put on a show. But this is a mid 60-year-old woman, so I think like her breath range and her life is going to be a little bit, hampered. So I don't think it's gonna go too long. I'm doing a safe around a minute 30 seconds, just a little bit longer. I think I'm going to go for 100, just as I think, she's going to want to put on her show, but at the same time wrap it up because she's getting up there in age, and she can't really sing how she used to. So I'm putting that 100 seconds for me.
I like that. All
right. So that is our tiebreaker. Now for the lock of the week. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. I'll dive in. I know strategically this is a bad decision, but I feel bold about this. I'm getting all 6. And there's nothing anyone can do about it because I'm so confident in this. We're going to go Kansas City, +2. Why not? Give us some points here. Help us out a little bit. And then we're also going to go with Brock Purdy over 0.5 interceptions. For longtime listeners know I can be a generational type hater at times. And Brock Purdy, a man who gave OU fits, sure, he gave us a couple problems, but as an avid Big 12 watcher, I saw this man make mountains of mistakes, hilarious ones that you should look up, specifically his interception against TCU. You'll find it easily, trust me. I feel like this is big moments. It is impossible. It can be impossible for players to, constrain themselves. You either have it or you don't. And I just know he's going to try to do. All it takes is one throw, one mistake, and that bet hits. And if we're asking Brock Purdy to stay perfect, I just don't see it. I'll put it this way. I could see the Niners finding a way to win if Brock Purdy's not perfect. But I don't see Brock Purdy being perfect in this moment, if that makes sense.
For sure. So, I didn't realize we could do the line as well, so that makes sense. But yeah, I'm taking Chiefs +2. I think that, they're going to end up coming out on top. I like that. Only a +2, that's good. Christian McCaffrey over 127.5 yards. So Chiefs defense, like run defense, is like kind of ranked middle of the pack. I know their pass defense is really good, but when you get that mixed with just C-Mac, who's just a monster on the field, I think he's gonna have a field day. I don't think it's gonna be enough to win the game, but he will be going off. So mark that as the over.
I would take him straight up, by the way. If we want to, because that's a good point, Lexi. I might have just been assuming the spread. But if we want to, Max, what do you think? Are we going straight up or are we going spreads here?
Yeah. So having the line, so the line and the prop in this scenario, like, doesn't affect. It's 6 points if you pick the game straight up or if you add the line. It doesn't matter. So it doesn't.
Okay. Cool.
The only thing it affects is if you pick the game and the line and you only pick that, you'll get 3 points. For the game, if you just want to pick the game and a prop, that's 6 points whether you add in the line or not. That's all I want to say. It doesn't.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, cool. So for me, I'm taking the Chiefs as well, but I'm going to go. I need these 6 points, so that's why I'm going all out with this. I can't afford to do anything less. So yeah, 6 points for me, and I'm taking the Chiefs, and I'm taking Travis Kelce to go over 71.5 receiving yards. Easy pick for me because Taylor Swift just won a Grammy. So Taylor Swift's getting all the attention. Travis Kelce's going to be like, yo, Patrick Mahomes, passing me the ball. I'm the most reliable receiver. I'm going to be in the line. I want to be Super Bowl MVP. Like, the conspiracy theories are crazy, but if you want to lean into the NFL script writers and the conspiracy theories, we're going to make Travis Kelce be Super Bowl MVP. He's going to go off. He's going to get some touchdowns and some yards and be Super Bowl MVP and hang out with Taylor Swift and her Grammy. So I'm taking Travis Kelce to have a big day and the Chiefs.
I had thought about that one. I had it for a moment, but then I was like, I could see a world where Travis Kelce scores 2 touchdowns but doesn't get the yards. I don't know.
It's possible for sure. I think, the Niners would be smart to key on Kelce, but Kelce's a beast. So.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. Well, that's it. Those are all the locks. Again, real quick, Lexi's taking the Chiefs +2 and C-Mac over 127.5 total yards. Rushing receiver, he's going to get it. Bobby's got the Chiefs +2 as well. Brock Purdy over 0.5 interceptions. And then I got the Chiefs and Kelce with over 71.5 receiving yards for Travis. Now, another thing I should mention is these aren't like broken up things. So if you get any part of this wrong, you don't get any points at all. So you have to get the entire thing correct to be able to get the points. So again, that's why I have a tiebreaker in place. So, if both Lexi and Bobby get 0 points for this week, you still have the tiebreaker for the Reba McEntire national anthem bet. So just want to make that clear. Gotta get the whole thing right to win the points. So there we go. We all have the Chiefs. Should be a good game. Can't wait to break it down with you on the next show. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. We'll see you right back here on the Weekenders. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
See ya.